Let me ask you something. Who told you where your limits are? Was it the world? Was it your fear? Was it that voice in your head whispering, this is as far as you can go? Who decided that? And more importantly, why are you still listening? Because here's the truth. Limits are nothing more than stories. Stories you were told as a child, stories you absorbed from failures, from rejection, from people who never had the courage to chase something bigger. These stories create invisible walls around you, walls that don't actually exist except in your mind. And if you accept those walls, if you believe they're real, you will live your entire life inside a prison built by fear and doubt. But here's the thing about walls. They're meant to be broken. Every great achievement in history was once labeled impossible. Every world record was once thought unbreakable. Every innovation, every revolution, every moment of human progress happened because someone refused to believe in limits. They saw the wall, and instead of stopping, they asked, what happens if I push? The people who change the world, the ones who inspire us, the ones who leave a mark, they don't stop where the world tells them to stop. They don't quit when it gets hard. They don't bow to fear. They break through. And that's exactly what you're going to do. Because you are not your fears. You are not your past mistakes. You are not the doubts that have been planted in your head by people who never dared to dream bigger. You are stronger. You are capable. And if you decide right here, right now, that no one gets to set your limits except you, then there is no force on this earth that can hold you back. Every single one of us carries stories about who we are, what we can do, and how far we're allowed to go. Some of these stories were told to us by others. Some were shaped by past failures, disappointments, or moments when we felt like we weren't good enough. And if we're not careful, these stories become the limits we live by. But here's the truth. Most of these stories are lies. Think about it. When you were a kid, you didn't believe in limits. You didn't question whether you could run faster, jump higher, or dream bigger. You just did. You believed you could be anything. You didn't sit there wondering, what if I fail? You just tried again and again until you got it right. So what changed? At some point, the world started telling you a different story. It told you that failure is bad, that some dreams are too big, that people like you don't achieve things like that. Maybe it told you that you weren't smart enough, strong enough, talented enough. And over time, you believed it. But I'm here to tell you, it's time to challenge those stories. Ask yourself, who decided this for me? Who said I can't? Who made the rule that I have to stop here? Because if someone else wrote the story, you have every right to rewrite it. Greatness isn't reserved for the lucky or the chosen few. It's built by those who refuse to accept the limits placed on them. The people who break through aren't the ones with fewer failures. They're the ones who refuse to let failure define them. They don't let a bad chapter ruin the rest of their story. And neither should you. So stop letting old fears write your future. Stop living by rules that were never meant for you. If the story in your head is holding you back, change the story. Because you are not defined by the limits others set for you. You are defined by how far you're willing to go to break through them. Most people run from discomfort. They avoid difficult conversations, back away from challenges, and stay inside the bubble of what feels safe. But let me tell you something. If you want to break through your limits, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Discomfort is where growth happens. Think about the moments in your life when you truly changed, when you became stronger, wiser, or more capable. It didn't happen when things were easy. It happened when you were pushed, challenged, and stretched beyond what you thought you could handle. Athletes don't become champions by staying within their comfort zones. They push through pain, exhaustion, and failure. Artists don't create masterpieces by sticking to what feels safe. They take risks, break rules, and challenge expectations. Entrepreneurs don't build empires by playing it safe. They make bold moves, face rejection, and bet on themselves, even when the odds are against them. And the same goes for you. If you want to achieve something great, if you want to become something greater, you have to be willing to step into discomfort. You have to be okay with failing, with looking foolish, with feeling lost for a while, because every single one of those things is a sign that you're growing. So stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting until you feel ready. You'll never feel completely ready. Instead, start leaning into discomfort. Seek out challenges. Take the opportunities that scare you, because every limit you break starts with a moment of discomfort you were willing to face. Fear isn't the enemy. Fear is the doorway. It stands between you and the life you want, between who you are and who you're meant to become. Most people see fear and turn around. They let it stop them. But you have to walk through it. Fear will always be there. It will whisper in your ear when you're about to take a risk, when you're standing on the edge of something big. It will try to convince you to stay where it's safe, where it's familiar. But comfort zones are cages in disguise. They keep you small, they keep you quiet, and worst of all, they keep you from becoming who you were meant to be. Look back at your life, every major breakthrough, every moment of growth, it happened after fear. You were terrified before that speech, before that interview, before you took that leap, but you did it anyway. And after, you were stronger, more confident, more unstoppable. Fear isn't there to stop you. It's there to test you, to ask you, how badly do you want this? So when fear shows up, don't turn away. Look it in the eye, take a deep breath, and walk through the door. Because on the other side, that's where your real potential lives. How much of your life have you spent waiting for permission? How many dreams have you put on hold because you were afraid of what people might think? It's time to stop living for their approval and start living for yourself. Approval is a moving target. You could spend years trying to meet expectations, trying to fit into someone else's version of success, and still, it wouldn't be enough. One moment they praise you, the next they doubt you. If you let their opinions define you, you'll never be free. You'll never truly be you. Here's the truth. The greatest things ever built, the boldest dreams ever chased, were made by people who refused to seek validation. They trusted themselves when no one else did. They didn't wait for applause. They didn't ask for permission. They created, they failed, they learned, and they kept moving forward. You don't need anyone to tell you that you're good enough. You already are. The only approval that matters is yours. When you stop chasing approval, you start chasing your real potential. And that's where the breakthrough happens. Setbacks aren't stop signs, they're signals. They're telling you to adjust, to grow, to push harder. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't the absence of failure. It's how they use it. Will you let it break you, or will you let it build you? Every setback you face is fuel. It's energy. It's a lesson wrapped in frustration, a challenge disguised as disappointment. It's not there to stop you. It's there to strengthen you, but only if you choose to see it that way. Think of every great success story. It's built on failure, rejection, and obstacles. The ones who break through are the ones who refuse to give up. They take the punches and stand back up. They don't let setbacks define them. They use them as stepping stones. So the next time life knocks you down, don't ask, why me? Instead ask, what can I learn? How can this make me stronger? Because when you stop seeing setbacks as roadblocks and start seeing them as fuel, you become unstoppable. Limits are not real, they are mental constructs. Beliefs we inherit, fears we adopt, and walls we build for ourselves. But here's the truth. Every so-called limit is just a checkpoint, not a finish line. Think about it. Every great achievement, every world record, every innovation, at one point, someone thought it was impossible, but then someone else came along and proved that impossible was just an opinion. You will get tired. You will feel like you've hit a wall. Your mind will scream, "This is it. You can't go further." That moment, the moment when everything in you says, "Stop," that's when most people quit. But that's exactly when you have to push harder. Why? Because breakthroughs only happen when you refuse to back down. There's a reason top athletes train past exhaustion. There's a reason successful entrepreneurs don't stop after one failed business. There's a reason the greatest minds of history weren't satisfied with what already existed. They kept going when it hurt. They kept going when failure laughed in their faces. They kept going when their own doubts tried to hold them back. You see, your mind is wired to protect you from discomfort. It will tell you to stop long before you've reached your true limits. But if you ignore that voice, if you lean into the struggle instead of running from it, you'll find that your real potential lies far beyond where you thought your limit was. So what does this mean for you? It means that when life gets tough, you don't slow down, you step up. When rejection knocks you down, you get back up stronger. When fear whispers that you'll fail, you respond with action. Because limits only exist until you break them. So keep going, keep pushing, keep fighting, and one day you'll look back and realize there was never a limit at all. The only thing standing between you and what you want is the belief that you can't have it. But let me ask you this. Who told you that? Who decided what you were capable of? Who set the boundaries on your dreams? Was it society? Was it the people around you? Or was it the voice inside your own head? Because here's the truth. Those limits were never real. They were built by fear, by doubt, by the comfort of staying the same. But you were not made to stay the same. You were made to grow, to evolve, to push past what you thought was possible. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have changed the world, who have broken barriers, who have reached the impossible. Do you think they were born with an advantage you don't have? No. The only difference is that they refused to believe in limits. They refused to accept that they couldn't do it. And when they hit a wall, they didn't stop. They climbed over it. They broke through it. They tore it down. Now it's your turn. Stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop holding back. The perfect moment will never come. The conditions will never be ideal. If you keep waiting for certainty, you'll stay exactly where you are. But the moment you take action, the moment you decide that no matter what, you are going to make this happen, everything changes. You will stumble, you will fail, you will doubt yourself. But every time you get back up, you rewrite the story. Every time you push forward, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than you think. And one day you will look back and realize that the version of you who once thought, "I can't do this," had no idea what they were truly capable of. Your limits, they were never real to begin with. Now go prove it.